Miraculous Ladybug just revealed Adrian's grandparents to us, and also gave us a very strange mystery surrounding Adrian and the twin rings that belong to his family. Previously, it had been hinted that Adrian was a Sentimonster, and that this ring had the power to control him as it was his Amok, the object that was used to create him. My name is Deep Cut, friends call me Cut Noir. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more Ladybug theories and videos, and let's jump into it. Werepapas opened with an adorable flashback to when Adrian was just a little boy and his mother was still alive and not considered missing. Here we get to learn a little about Emily and Gabriel's parents, and the strained relationship that they all had. Emily explains to little Adrian that her parents could act in ways that aren't loving, and that makes Adrian question if Gabriel loves him and his mother since he's always busy with work and his travels with Natalie, being just as distant as their grandparents, who have to be distant because Emily says they're mean. Emily insists that this isn't the case with Gabriel, however, and says that one day Emily will get better and Gabriel won't have to travel and they'll all spend time together. After the death of Emily and Gabriel, both sets of Adrian's grandparents now want to meet him, and so Natalie arranges a family-only lunch. Feeling nervous, Marinette decides to help Adrian by showing up as part of their maid staff so she can support him. We first meet Emily's parents, who we knew from earlier seasons were descended from royalty in Britain, but also have strong loyal roots to Paris. Because of this, the family had its tradition of twin rings that they passed down to their eldest child, with at last making it to Emily. Emily's father, Lord Emile Graham, is shown to be a controlling man, very similar to what Gabriel would become later in life when he gained power. Originally, he was a poor dressmaker from France from the lower classes, someone Graham makes clear he didn't want marrying his daughter, let alone taking his luxurious Paris mansion to start his family. His wife's name is Millie, making their combined names Emile and Millie a play on their daughter's name, Emily. Though that's a bit awkward considering she has a twin sister named Amelie who is left out of this joke, despite Amelie being the one that actually continues the family legacy by staying in Britain with her son Felix. Emile Graham is shown to be mean and controlling, but his wife Millie is rather sweet and nice, insisting that Natalie has known Adrian for so long that she is basically his family, and that she should be the one to take care of Adrian if that's what Gabriel and Emily wanted. Graham frequently tells her to just shut up and basically even says she should suffer in silence, making him really easy to hate. Gabriel's parents are actually a lot of fun meanwhile. They're a bit on the hippie side, making it clear they've never been married, but of course that they have been together since before Gabriel was born as loving parents and a loving couple. Meeting the parents of Gabriel and Emily really helps to emphasize the different backgrounds that Gabriel and Emily had before they fell in love with each other and Gabriel found his success. Like Emile's wife, Gabriel's parents, Johnny and Gabrielle, seem happy to let Adrian live with Natalie. They just want to be a part of his life, something Gabriel just wouldn't allow. Emile, however, wants Adrian just to himself, not wanting him to be raised by Gabriel's parents, who own a French fry shop and are seen as comparatively lower class. The climax of the episode is actually Millie getting akumatized when her emotions get the best of her. This turns her into Ringmaster, a fun play on words as she wants the twin rings as they symbolize the authority within the family. But it is the two grandpas fighting for authority over Adrian, and thus she puts them in a boxing ring type situation to fight for Adrian. This leads to a gay furry daddy boxing match where Adrian is the ultimate prize, trapped in a trophy, with Marinette having to save him. It was funny watching her try to figure out how to do this on her own, and Adrian sending a message from within the trophy claiming he can't make it as Cat Noir because he gets stuck on the way. It would have been a great excuse for Marinette to call on any of the other 16 superheroes in town, but instead she uses a series of lucky charms to get her hands on the akumatized object, the twin rings. But there's this huge moment where she pauses before breaking it to release the Akuma. She of course does, and the Akuma flies out, with Marinette saving the day, giving the ring back to Adrian and everyone agreeing to be friends and having Natalie continue to raise him. But this was a scary moment for Marinette because she had believed that Adrian was a Sentimonster and that this was the Amok that controlled him. When she broke the ring, she was expecting a peacock feather to come out and to have to try and do something to make sure that Adrian is okay. This was revealed to Marinette just before the season 5 finale in the episode Representation. In this episode, Felix and Kagami have fallen in love and want to ask Marinette for help escaping their family curses and helping Adrian escape his. Kagami and Felix end up putting on a surreal play for Marinette where they explain the family history of Adrian and Felix, and with it also confirm the origins of Kagami as a Sentimonster as well. Felix and Adrian of course came from twin mothers Amelie and Emily, who we now know as the children of Emile and Millie. In this play, we learn that Emily was supposed to be the eldest who inherited the two rings and the royal duties, but she chose to run off to Paris to live with a poor dressmaker, Gabriel. The problem is that she took the twin rings with her and that neither she nor her sister were able to conceive a child. For Emily and Gabriel, this meant just not having a kid to call their own. But for Amelie and the rich American she was said to marry to bring more wealth and elite status into her family, it meant that they didn't have an heir. Without a child to be an heir, the royal duties could not pass down again. But both Emily and Amelie would end up having sons eventually through magical means. This happened with Emily first, as it was Gabriel who found the Peacock Miraculous that allowed them to create Adrian. This is alluded to in Felix's play, where when Emily gets pregnant, we see the peacock feathers appear behind her. After seeing that Emily could get pregnant, Amelie and her husband wanted to find out how, and Gabriel would end up loaning the Peacock Miraculous to Felix's father so that he could use it to create a Sentimonster child just like Adrian. With the Peacock Miraculous damage, this led to Emily's body getting sick and eventually giving out, as well as Felix's father, and later Natalie in the show when she uses it to create monsters. Felix realized early on in life that something wasn't right with him, as his father seemed to have real control over him like some sort of magical power. He eventually pieced it together that his father had a ring that controlled him, this being the ring containing the feathered Amok. After learning this about Felix, fans were able to look back at the entire series and see all the hints that Gabriel had been doing the same thing with Adrian using the twin rings. The most crazy of these moments was when Adrian and Marinette were finally about to kiss for the very first time, but Gabriel was able to control and stop Adrian from a distance by touching the ring and simply saying no. Like Felix describes in his play, Adrian doesn't know why he stops at this point. Suddenly, kissing Marinette just doesn't feel okay, and he has to obey. In the latest episode, Ladybug breaks this ring in order to get the Akuma inside, and no feather came out, making fans scramble for answers. Previously, when Ladybug would break an object to get the Amok out, the feather would just come out easily. And when that happens, the Sentimonster or Sentibeing just dissolves into nothingness. Ladybug seemed nervous that this would happen, so she's very careful when she breaks the ring, and gives a sigh of relief when only an Akuma comes out and no Amok. The speculation of why this happened was so wild that Thomas Ostruck had to come in and confirm a few things on Blue Sky. First, he confirmed that intention does matter with Miraculous, and if you aren't intending to get the feather out of the object that it's in, breaking it won't necessarily release it. Thomas explains that this is something Gabriel actually knew, because otherwise he would not have put an Akuma inside of Kagami's family ring. For those who hadn't pieced it together yet, Kagami is also a Sentimonster, with her family ring being what controls her. This is why her mother argues with her over the ring and who wears it, claiming Kagami doesn't deserve to wear it when she isn't controlling herself the way her mother wants. This is why Felix fell in love with her, as he saw her as being the same as him, both just Sentibeings. Some fans wanted to believe this was more of a philosophical similarity, however, with Kagami being a normal human who has a strict parent. But this Blue Sky tweet from Thomas confirms that she is a Sentimonster just like Adrian and Felix. But like with Adrian in this episode, after her ring was destroyed by Ladybug, the feather didn't come out. As he explained, intention has something to do with that, but he also hints in later tweets that the real answer is that the feather has actually merged with the object over time. It makes sense to me that the longer a Sentimonster or Sentibeing exists, the more concrete their identity may become and the harder it may be to remove the Amok from the object. If I had to guess, when Ladybug destroyed the ring, she did in fact cause Adrian to dissolve into nothingness, something we didn't see thanks to the trophy covering him. But she didn't stop to ask if he was okay before using her magical ladybugs to fix everything. When they fixed the ring, it makes sense that it would put Adrian back together as well, as all the pieces for it to create him are still there, they just have to be in the right order. This would be very similar, I think, to the time that Plagg destroyed his own Miraculous to stop Gabriel from using it in the two-part episode The Kwame's Choice in Season 5. This ring is not Plagg himself, but it is a device that channels him into reality. The twin rings, meanwhile, channels Adrian into existence as well, and if taken apart and put back together, I think he would dissolve and then just reappear. In that time, Adrian probably doesn't know what happened, or maybe doesn't even realize that he disappeared for a moment, just suddenly having things go black before suddenly being back in place after the magical ladybugs are let out. But what do you guys think? I've seen other theories around that Felix and Adrian and Kagami are only half Sentimonster maybe, with the Peacock Miraculous only creating their mother's eggs and them still having DNA from their fathers. But let me know your thoughts and different theories in the comments down below, and say thank you to our animator Aldo for creating my new Cut Noir avatar and Deep Plagg here. If you haven't seen it yet, check out my massive mythology video that's 36 minutes long, breaking down how yin and yang affect the entire structure of Miraculous Ladybug. Or come hang out with us in the Cartoon Universe Discord server where we talk about Miraculous Ladybug and other cartoons. See you guys there!